It's Jay Stongo, Kimi Hodole Jahajifgados. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Weaving Knowledge, Collaboration, and Care, an introduction to the National Tribal Child Welfare Center for Innovation and Advancement. We're so glad you could join us today. My name is Kimmy Wendt Hummingbird, and I serve as the Tailored Services Manager for our team. I come to this gathering from my tribal community on the Muskogee Reservation in Oklahoma, and I'll be helping guide our time together. Today's webinar is focused on a very important topic: how tribal child welfare programs can request technical assistance to further support the work in ways that honor and uplift the knowledge, traditions, and strengths within our communities, those ways of being that have served as protective factors since time immemorial. We know that every tribal program and community carries unique responsibilities in serving children, families, and communities. Having the right tools, training, and support makes the difference. And that's what we'll be talking about together. Over the next hour, we'll walk through the kinds of assistance available, how to make a request, and what the process looks like from start to finish. We'll also share examples of how other tribal programs have used the support and leave time for your questions. And if there's a need we don't talk about today, please reach out. We'd be glad to connect and explore what we might grow together. We welcome the chance to be thought partners in any area your program could benefit from added support. Our goal today is to make sure that you leave here with a clear understanding of how to access this no-cost assistance from our center and of the steps in the process, so you know what the journey looks like for your program. Next slide, please. Before we begin, we'd like to offer a few pieces of housekeeping to help you have the best experience during today's meeting. Please use the chat or the Q&A to share thoughts or questions as we go. We're happy to take questions throughout and then pause at the end for them as well. The captions can be turned on or off on the toolbar at the bottom of the screen. And just a quick note, the session is being recorded and will be posted on our YouTube channel and website within the week. We'll also send the link to everyone who registered, along with the key resources and information we talk about today. Now I'd like to welcome Dr. Priscilla Day, who is part of the Center's Cultural Council. Much like the councils and tribal communities that guide our nations, the Cultural Council offers wisdom that helps to keep our work rooted in tribal values, grounded in traditional ways of knowing, and centered on the well-being of children, families, and communities. Dr. Priscilla Day is an enrolled member of the Leech Lake Reservation and Professor Emeritus of Social Work at the University of Minnesota, Duluth. She has worked nationally as a consultant and trainer on ICWA and tribal child welfare, and her research focuses on family preservation and Indigenous ways of knowing. She's also a mother of 3 and a grandmother of 10. Dr. Day, thank you for being here with us and opening us up in a good way.
Thank you, Kimmy. Buju, Gijeva ben benesikwe indija kaz makwan dudem gazgasquaje mikagna dunjiba. As Kimmy said, I was asked here to do the opening welcome, and that's certainly an honor. As Kimmy said, I've been associated with this center and other national child welfare programs, as well as programs within the state of Minnesota, where I'm from. So I'm an enrolled member of the Leech Lake Reservation, where I reside, and I am fortunate to have my own children and my grandchildren, and those are always a driving force, as we know, I know it is for many of you. So before we joined, I smudged and I offered tobacco, in our language, asema, and I'll just do a brief prayer in English for you. So as we come together today from all across Turtle Island, we offer prayers for this project, for the staff and the roles that they play in this project, for all the tribal workers and tribal leaders and other people in our communities that serve our children and families. And of course, we offer prayers for those children and families that they may lead healthy lives. Um, we ask that the work that is done in tribally and culturally appropriate ways, and that we always keep that at the forefront of our work, as I know that the staff in this center do, and that we have a great collaboration today, and that's the first of many opportunities that we can come together for. So, miigwech, miu.
Again, thank you so much for opening up our time together in such a meaningful way. Your words really ground us and remind us of why we're here, supporting families and children across Turtle Island. We're truly grateful for your support in this work. Thank you. Um, Here's a quick look at what we'll cover today. We'll begin with some brief introductions so you can get to know the team members who'll be joining us today. And next, our leadership will share an overview of the center, who we are and what we do. And from there, we'll walk through our approach and services, giving you a sense of how we support programs and communities. Then we'll talk specifically about how we can work together and what it might look like in practice. Then we'll save some times for questions and an open discussion so you can share what's on your mind and get to know who we are and how we show up and about the work that we do. We'll get your questions answered. And finally, we'll wrap up with next steps and talk about the additional resources that we're going to send you after today's session. To get us started, we'd like to share more about who we are as a team and the work of the center. This will give you a sense of the people behind today's webinar and the commitment we bring to supporting tribal child welfare programs. First, we have our co-directors, Sarah Nelson and Dr. Sonia Ulrich, who provide leadership and direction for the center. We're also honored to have our tribal liaisons, Brittany Madros and Nancy Mason, who help ensure that tribal program voices, values, and perspectives remain at the heart of everything we do. And finally, our service integration manager, Melissa McGee, who helps connect the pieces at the very beginning, making sure that when an inquiry comes in, the right services, supports, and resources are coordinated and accessible for each program. We also want to acknowledge that we have additional team members who aren't on camera today, but are an important part of this work. We invite them to introduce themselves in the chat so you can see who else is with us. Together, our team works in to support tribal child welfare programs in ways that are responsive, culturally grounded, and collaborative. Now I'm going to hand it off to Sarah and Sonia for an overview of the center.
Thank you so much, Kimmy, and thank you so much, Priscilla, for that beautiful opening. Bonjour, everyone. The National Tribal Child Welfare Center for Innovation and Advancement, what we often call the Center, or NTCWCIA, operates under a cooperative agreement with the Children's Bureau. Our current project cycle spans October 2024 through September 2029. The center is built on a collaborative partnership across 5 organizations, each contributing unique strengths and expertise. Together, we advance innovative approaches to strengthen tribal child welfare systems, foster meaningful state and tribal partnerships, and support long-term system transformation. At the heart of our work is the commitment to improving safety, stability, and well-being for Native children, youth, families, and communities while honoring and respecting tribal sovereignty, culture, and traditions. This map shows where our center staff are geographically located across the country. As of September 2025, our team includes 11 full-time and 21 part-time staff. Each person contributes a strand of expertise, and together we weave these strands into a basket of support that we offer to tribes and communities. We'd also love to know that where you're joining us from today. Please take a moment to share your location in the chat. Our center's goals are woven together, much like the strands of a basket. We assist tribes receiving Title 4E and 4B funding in strengthening their child welfare systems in compliance with federal requirements. At the same time, we support long-term system transformation that enhances the safety, stability, and well-being of American Indian and Alaska Native children, youth, and families. Each strand, compliance with federal systems, transformation of tribal child welfare programs, and the delivery of culturally respectful technical assistance, work together to create a strong foundation of support for our tribal communities.
All right. Hello. Good morning. Good afternoon. My name is Sonia Ulrich, and thank you, Sarah, for starting us off, and Kimmy, and of course, Dr. Day. And thanks everyone for who joined us today. I'm joining you from Western Washington on the traditional lands of the Squaxin people. Today, I have the honor of sharing a little bit about the center vision with you. Our vision for the project is grounded in the principles of Indigenous ways of knowing, and across our work, we focus on and emphasize relationality, reciprocity, and honoring tribal sovereignty, as Sarah had previously mentioned. Our vision includes a single point of contact for requests. We believe that this will simplify the process for tribes who are seeking assistance and reduce confusion on how to access your services. We'll tell you a little bit more about that in a few minutes. Our team provides customized technical assistance that aligns with each tribe's priorities, strengths, and cultural practices, and we embed CQI as a core component of all the work that we do across the center. Next slide, please. This is an image of our approach. It's obviously a basket, and we chose to demonstrate the work of the center through this visual representation of a woven basket. We know it's hard to read on the screen, but when you get the actual presentation, you can look a little deeper, or we're happy to send it out. The basket reflects the center's holistic and collaborative approach, combining respect for culture and sovereignty, integrated and coordinated services, and a shared vision for thriving child welfare systems. The approach demonstrates the importance of partnership and collaboration, and it's really intended to symbolize strength, unity, and interconnectedness in the work. It is also intended to embody our shared purpose of supporting tribal child welfare systems to improve outcomes for children, youth, and families. The center's services also align with the Children's Bureau priority areas, which are listed across the bottom of the basket. Those are supporting tribal workforce development, leadership and capacity, expanding tribal prevention programs, supporting tribal programs and meeting federal requirements and policy implementation, developing and supporting tribal state collaborations, and supporting tribes in developing or enhancing their capacity for data collection, analysis, reporting, and implementation of case management systems. Next slide.
Thanks so much, Sonia. Next, we'll share an overview of the center's resources and services that are available to tribal child welfare programs. One of the ways that our center supports tribal child welfare programs and professionals is through the development and sharing of culturally relevant tools and resources. These resources are designed to strengthen practice, support staff, and reflect the lived experiences of tribal communities. Our resource library includes webinars and podcast episodes, downloadable guides, templates, and checklists, as well as other tools that have been contributed directly from tribes as tangible examples that can be adapted by your program. We also organize collections of resources by topic, such as prevention, data, and workforce, so that you can quickly find what you need. All of the materials that we create are available to tribal programs with no eligibility requirements, and the library is updated regularly. This makes it a valuable space for both newly funded programs and those that have had longstanding experience to find what they need. The goal is to ensure that every tribal program has access to practical, culturally grounded tools that can be put to use right away. If you're not already getting messages from the center in your inbox, we encourage you to sign up for our mailing list to stay up to date with our happenings. Our team will share the sign up link in the chat. As you can see, the center develops and shares a wide range of culturally relevant resources to strengthen tribal child welfare programs. To make these materials easy to access, we brought them all together in one place. We're excited to share that later today will mark the launch of our new website for the National Tribal Child Welfare Center for Innovation and Advancement. Our site is designed to be a central hub for tribal child welfare professionals, leaders, and partners. On our new site, you will find a comprehensive resource library that includes policies, practical tools, templates, and other resources that have been developed by tribes themselves so that communities can learn directly from one another. The site also includes a job board, plus updates on training, events, and learning communities hosted by the center. Whether you're seeking guidance, opportunities, or a way to connect, our website is built to support your work and your community. We invite you to explore, share, and return as often as you would like as we continue to grow this space together. And our team will share that link in the chat. Again, our new page is going to go live a little bit later today, probably during this webinar, we're hoping. So we look forward to you checking that out and visiting our resource library. And in addition to our library and the areas of our page that showcase our services, we're also going to have featured resource pages. Each of these pages is organized around our center's focus areas, including workforce, prevention, and tribal state collaboration. And it allows you to quickly find what's most relevant to you. As we continue to build and grow this site, you'll find curated collections of guides, tools, and examples, including resources contributed by tribal programs. And lastly, we're excited to share that we have our new resource library that will be live today. And we hope that this will be a go-to space for tribal child welfare professionals to find what they need. On this page, you can browse and access the full range of tools, guides, webinars, and examples we've developed and collected to support tribal programs. In addition to the library, we will have a job board where you can share or explore opportunities in tribal child welfare, an area to learn more about the center's services, and a place to request information or individualized support. Melissa will be sharing more about the request process in a little bit. Altogether, our site is designed to give you a central place to find resources, opportunities, and connections that can support your work. Another of the center's service areas includes our peer services, which are built on the understanding that meaningful growth happens within community. These spaces bring tribal child welfare professionals together to learn through relationship, reflection, and shared purpose. We offer structured learning communities that provide ongoing opportunities for connection and exchange. These communities foster mutual support, storytelling, and cultural grounding, which while focusing on key areas, including prevention, family preservation, data management and systems, workforce development support, and managing federal requirements. In addition, the center hosts peer-to-peer exchanges. These are designed to connect tribal programs with similar interests or challenges. These exchanges allow programs to learn directly from each other's experiences and explore shared solutions in a trusted space. Peer services are available to staff representing Title IV-B tribal child welfare programs, and multiple members from a program can participate, whether within the same group or across different ones. The goal is to create supportive circles where knowledge is collectively generated and where participants feel connected and strengthened in their work. Our next communities of learning will focus on two important areas, culture camps and data management. Our Culture Camps two-part series will highlight how these spaces support children, youth, and families by strengthening identity, belonging, and connection to tribal traditions, and how they align with the goals of tribal child welfare programs. The Data Management ongoing series provides a learning space to explore how tribal programs are collecting, organizing, and using data in ways that reflect community priorities and support strong child welfare systems. Both communities are designed for learning alongside peers, sharing real-world priorities, and lifting up Indigenous values. We encourage you to register today to reserve your spot and be part of our conversations. There's still time to register for today's data management group for tribal programs that are interested in joining. Our team will be dropping both of those registration links in the chat. Now Sonia is going to share a little bit more about our technical assistance services.
All right. Thank you, Sarah. Okay, so when a tribe's request is identified as really needing individualized technical assistance, we have a tailored team and highly skilled tribal liaisons, some of them you're going to meet today, who will respond to you and work with you to better understand your needs and priorities, and then work to develop a manageable work plan and deliverable due dates that maybe includes identified subject matter experts if we need to locate them or whatever else is needed that we can identify to support you in your change effort. We will then support the tribal team throughout the implementation of the project. Our team also works in partnership to develop and plan for an evaluation of all of our work and support you in evaluating your work through methods using Indigenous ways of knowing and, of course, outcomes of interest as identified by the Tribal Child Welfare Program. Kimmy Wind Hummingbird is our tailored services manager and our leader of our liaison team, and I'm going to turn it back to her so she can lead you through more details in the process.
Mado, Sonia, thank you. One of the key things that we want to share today is the range of technical assistance services available through our center. On this slide, you'll see them organized into focus areas, but everything is tailored to meet the needs of your program. For workforce, we can provide job training, or provide training and talk about job expectations. We can discuss ways to improve supervision and policy development and prevention. We offer tools, culturally based approaches, and support for mobilizing communities. We also assist tribal child welfare programs in meeting federal requirements by providing 4B and 4E tools, templates, and trainings. In tribal state collaboration, we can talk about shared agreement examples, provide training, and help strengthen partnerships. And with data management, we have resources on data sovereignty, system demonstrations, mapping, and AFCARS reporting. It's important to note that just because something isn't listed here doesn't mean that we can't help with it. If your program has a need and you don't see it on the slide, we're open to exploring it with you. Simply reach out. Our goal is to walk alongside your program in a way that best serves your community. Now, we'd like to hear from you. Let us know by taking our poll. What are some focus areas that might benefit your program? Can you launch the poll now, please? Has the poll been launched?
I'm not seeing it on my side, Kimmy.
I'm not either as a panelist. Maybe one of our hosts can do that.
Sarah, I believe you were going to do that on your side.
Yeah, I'm not able to. I think you would need to, Kyla. I'm sorry.
All righty. Well, hopefully we can plug that poll in a little bit. We'll just keep on moving. Next slide, please. All right. When we talk about our approach, we'd like to picture accessing services as a weaving process, something we do side by side. It begins with recognizing a need, just like considering the need for a basket. This is when the first strands are gathered and an inquiry is made. From there, we focus on relationship building, trust, and connection during our first conversations together, laying that firm foundation of the basket. Next comes a co-design where we interlace those strands and shape the basket together, making sure it fits the vision of your program. As we continue the walk together, the weave grows stronger, carrying your program forward through tailored assistance, peer connection, and shared learning. And finally, we share the basket, taking time to reflect, celebrate what was created, and consider how it will support future needs. Just as each strand adds strength to the weave, each step in accessing services builds towards something lasting and useful. To make that process simple, we've created a clear pathway on our website. Melissa's going to lead you through that now, and she can help you find the information you need to start the process of connecting with the center.
Yakoki Kimmy. Halito, everyone. Sahochafoya, Melissa McGee, Chatasia. Hello, my name's Melissa McGee, and I'm Choctaw. We've been very mindful in making it as simple as possible to connect with our team, and there really is no wrong door. We invite you to contact us through any of our contact information, but the online form is our primary vehicle for making inquiries, and so we encourage you to utilize the form if possible. The reason for that request is because the form captures some really important information and gives us a good starting place when we respond to your request. You'll find a link to the form in the chat, and there's also a link on our website. So I look forward to receiving a bundle of these after today's webinar. If a request is received from regional office staff or some other requester outside of the Tribal Child Welfare Program, we'll reach out directly to the tribe to let them know that we received a request and then determine if they want to participate. If you're not sure what your specific request should be or if tailored assistance is right for you, get in touch with us and let's have a conversation around that. We can explore how the center can meet your needs and at what level of intensity. So what happens after your request is received? Once we receive the inquiry, you'll be invited to participate in an intake meeting. I'll email you and ask for some potential dates and times that work for you, and we'll schedule a virtual meeting. We'll have a conversation, and we generally schedule that for 1 hour. It can take less time or more time, depending on the amount of assistance you're requesting and how much of your story you can share with us to sort of help us understand where you are and how we can meet you there. We want to learn about your program's history, what strengths and challenges you bring, and explore your interest in technical assistance. As far as who will need to participate, generally the Tribal Child Welfare Director and any staff who are going to be involved in the implementation of a potential new practice path. Sometimes that looks like ICW supervisors, tribal leaders, lead workers who are involved in leadership decision making. It'll vary depending on your individual program, but essentially the need is for tribal child welfare leaders. Once that intake meeting is concluded, our leadership team will meet to develop a suggested plan around your needs. We meet weekly to staff those, and then we'll be in touch by email very quickly, just a few business days, to present to you our suggested response to your inquiry. All right. And as far as who's eligible for these services, so all tribes are eligible to receive some services, and we often refer to these as universal services. So non-4B tribes are invited to schedule an intake with the center. You can receive resources from our library, curated lists of materials and information that are available online. And in addition to that, we can provide information to you on how to become a 4B tribe. For the 4B tribes and 4E tribes, you can also schedule intakes and request those same resources. But in addition to that, we can link you to community of practice groups. So those are the peer groups and the cohorts for the community learning. And we can also offer you individualized technical assistance with our tailored team. Some tribes, and this is especially true of our Alaska Native villages, don't receive Title IV-B funds directly and may be served through a tribal consortia. And so in those cases, the tribal consortia are eligible for the 4B services, but the individual tribes that make up the consortia are eligible for the non-4B or the universal services. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're requesting services, if that applies to you. If you have any questions today about requesting services or first steps, please feel free to drop those in the Q&A, and we're happy to go into more detail. But in the meantime, I'm going to turn it back over to Kimmy. Yakoki.
Thanks, Melissa. We appreciate that. I think we have got the poll up and ready to go. So if you'd like to start that now, we'd really appreciate it. We'd love to hear from you. What else you'd like to learn about, or what supports might benefit your program right now? I'll let you take a few moments to think about it. Kyla, can you let us know when you've got the results ready?
And Kimmy, let me just add this to Sonia. Let me just add that if the option wasn't on the screen for folks to drop any subjects into the chat, that would be helpful.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, I see. It looks like the results look like prevention program development and implement is one of the major um, areas where you could use some support. We appreciate that. We do that work at our center. We've had the opportunity to walk alongside a few programs to help with that. Also about 4E, 4B, data management. Yeah, we've seen kind of the same um, uh, things emerge in the tribes that we're walking alongside as well. So yeah, and thanks, Melissa, for helping us understand that initial intake and inquiry process. And so now we're going to talk a little bit about how we can support you. Kind of leads into that conversation that we just had with the poll. As many of you know from lived experience, right? Tribal child welfare programs carry a lot of responsibility every day. Staff are often balancing heavy caseloads, responding to crises, and complying with tribal codes and policy that impacts our families, all the while staying true to community values and cultural ways of caring for our relatives. These challenges can feel overwhelming at times, but they also show the deep commitment and strength within tribal programs. That's exactly why technical assistance exists, to walk alongside you in this challenging work. Technical assistance isn't about telling you what to do, it's about listening, honoring your knowledge and traditions, and finding practical ways to support you. Whether that's creating tools, offering training, connecting you with peers, or just being a thought partner, our role is to come alongside and help lighten that load so your program can continue its important work for children, families, and communities. To bring this to life, we'd like to share a few real-world scenarios. These examples show the different ways technical assistance partnerships have supported tribal child welfare programs through training, peer connections, policy development, or simply helping think through a challenge. Our hope is that you'll see pieces of your own program reflected in these stories and get a sense of how we might partner with you in meaningful ways. Next slide, please. We know that high staff turnover is a challenge many tribal child welfare programs face. It impacts consistency for families and children, and it places extra strain on those who remain. I'd like to turn to Brittany, one of our tribal liaisons, to provide some insight on how the center can help and impact that comes from addressing the staff turnover and supporting a strong, stable workforce.
Thank you, Kimmy. We both know how stressful that can feel as former directors, having staff leaving before you can train them, having your supervisors and your caseworkers stretched thin and possibly serving clients directly as well. All of this happening while the relationships of our children and our families get disrupted because we're trying to deal with the workforce concerns. From my own experience in working with rural Alaska, it can feel really never ending, this workforce problem. You fill one vacancy in a village and then you find two more villages have vacancies popping up. And so you might fix one and two more are vacant. I've seen positions that were vacant 5 years or longer.
That's a great point, Brittany. And knowing that there are 574 federally recognized tribes across the United States, we know that every nation, tribe, or village is unique and has different needs. Can you share how you would tailor your approach when supporting a program facing turnover or high vacancies?
Yeah, and I would say approaches everything. Recruiting and retaining qualified staff is a constant challenge, whether you're in a small remote village in Alaska or you are one of these larger tribal service areas on one of our Indian country reservations. Bringing people in and onboarding them in a good way and finding innovative ways to keep them can be difficult, especially because of our tribe's unique cultures and the limited resources that they may have. That's where we can come in at the center. Once a tribe completes intake with Melissa, together with tribes, our tailored services team can work to co-design workforce strategies that reflect the tribe's culture. We can help create orientation tools for your onboarding programs so new staff feel welcomed in ways that still honor the community that they're going to be serving. Our team can come alongside and help weave workforce stability into a tribe's child welfare system. Already, we find that we can draw on the strengths that are present in our tribal communities, offer tools and resources through the website Sarah has shared, our learning communities, where tribal child welfare workers are able to connect with each other to share about emerging issues, common priorities, or problem solving as a group. These supports can look differently depending on what our tribes are requesting. It might be helping a supervisor strengthen their coaching and leadership skills with a mentor. Other times it's developing recruitment campaigns, model job descriptions. It may be drafting or updating employee handbooks or an onboarding curricula. Supervisor toolkits tailored to the community's way of knowing. We've also are able to support leadership teams, so not just the supervisor themselves or our director with issues around organizational healing and trauma-informed care. And any one of these types of resources or technical assistance can be tailored to meet Title 4B or Title 4E requirements if that's something the tribe is also needing. When we have our tribes in the driver's seat, these supports help strengthen and stabilize the tribal workforce in ways that are sustainable and rooted in the tribe's culture. Staff and supervisors are going to feel supported and connected. That organizational knowledge is carried forward, something we know that can get lost very easily through turnover. And most importantly, families experience consistency and and trust that tribal programs have been working so hard to provide.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing those insights. It's clear that while staff turnover is a difficult challenge, there are many ways tribal programs can be supported through strong supervision, training, and those peer connections. Workforce stability is key to continuity for children and families, and your perspectives highlight the importance of walking alongside tribes in this area. Thank you for that. Next slide. Now let's turn to another challenge we hear often from tribal child welfare programs, the limitations in tracking outcomes for children and families. Data can be a powerful tool for telling the story of tribal programs, but it also comes with barriers and complexities. I'd like to invite Nancy, another one of our tribal liaisons, to share her thoughts on how the center can assist tribes in strengthening data collection and outcome while respecting tribal values and sovereignty.
Yakoki, thank you, Kimmy. Well, as you know, every tribe situation is different. Some don't have a database, others rely on an Excel spreadsheet, and some actually have a data management system. But no matter the setup, challenges can show up, like limited staff capacity, the accessibility issues we face in those remote and rural areas, and even high cost. The center meets tribes where they are, offering tools that respect sovereignty, culture, and Indigenous ways of knowing. We start by tailoring toolkits and resources to fit each tribe's needs. Maybe you'd like to see a software demo or check out the tools from tribes that Sarah mentioned to see what other data management tools have been shared by tribes. Through the communities of learning, we bring programs together to see how others are approaching information systems. And just a reminder, there is a session of that data management series today from 3 to 4 Eastern. So be sure to register, scroll back up in that chat, find that link, and do that as soon as we get off this webinar. When it comes to data, we help tribes through an individualized approach for their tribal community. That may include discussing how the tribe traditionally gathers information and deciding what data is truly needed to highlight the work that they're doing. The center can support the tribe to determine what system makes the most sense. Is it a data management system or a simple spreadsheet? And we can also walk alongside the tribe through implementation. But most importantly, all of this is co-designed with the tribe and an emphasis of tribe's ownership of its own data.
Thanks for providing the insight. Can you tell us a little bit beyond reporting requirements about how data can be used to tell the story of the tribal child welfare work and highlight the strengths of tribal communities?
Yeah, we all often look at data as the numbers, the reports, and compliance. And while that quantitative data is important for tribal child welfare programs, it can be so much more. By also including the qualitative data like stories, interviews, and cultural teachings, we can see the true impact of community voice and experience. When used well, data can be a tool to safeguard traditions and practices, ensuring that culture is passed down to future generations. In this way, data not only supports permanency and well-being for tribal children and families, but it also promotes and protects tribal sovereignty.
Thanks, Nancy. It's always great to hear those perspectives. What I heard was that tracking outcomes is more than just meeting those requirements. It's also about honoring tribal sovereignty, uplifting community strengths, and using data to tell the full story of the work that's being done in the communities. The center can play a key role in making that process more supportive, practical, and culturally grounded, no matter what focus area you want to work on, or even if you're not sure, but you have some ideas. Our braided service approach is centered on each unique nation, tribe, or village, and it all begins by submitting a request and completing the intake. Next slide, please. Thank you all for joining us today and for the important work that you're doing every day to support children, families, and communities. We hope this session gave you a clearer picture of the technical assistance that's available and how your tribal program can request support when it's needed. These resources are here to walk alongside your program, honoring the knowledge, traditions, and strengths already present in your communities. And if you have a need we haven't talked about, please connect with us. We'd love the chance to explore it together and see how we might grow it. Now we'd love to hear from you, what questions or thoughts that you have. Any questions in the chat?
There was one question in the chat or excuse me, in the question and answer that we went ahead and responded to about youth involvement and youth-led directives, but I'm not seeing any other in the Q&A, Kimmy, at this point. I'm not sure if others, if people are unmuted, if they're able to ask questions, or whether or not people are still muted.
If someone does have a question, they can either put it in the chat or they're welcome to use the raise hand feature on their toolbar, and that will allow us to unmute you.
It doesn't look like we're getting any questions. One one question that I would have thought, in being in those shoes, I was the director of a tribal child welfare program and also, a worker at the very beginning, in the 1900s. But one of the things that I think about is, what does the process look like? What does my leadership need to know about, and how involved are they in the work? Would anybody on the team like to process or answer that question? Thinking about that. So, Nancy or Sonia, as far as whenever we start the conversations, having these meetings, these project team meetings, who all do we generally have at the table?
I'll go ahead and take that.
Thank
Let me get my video on so you can see my face. We generally sit down prior to having that big meeting, sit down with the person who's made that request and have them decide who needs to be a part of that team. They're the ones driving the project, and so they need to look around and see who are going to be the champions in their community that can support the project that they're working on. So it's really all driven by the tribe. They make the decisions. We just show up for them and try to support them in a good way.
you so much. All right. Well, if we don't have any other questions, I can hand it over to Sarah and Sonia.
Thank you so much, Kimmy. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. We'll be sharing the slides and the materials for today's webinar afterwards. After you leave today's session, a brief survey is going to appear on your screen, and we appreciate you taking a minute to provide any feedback you can as we try to improve our services and offer the best resources and webinars that we can to our participants. And our team is going to share some links in the chat for how you can connect with us. Once again, I want to thank you. And on behalf of our entire team at the center, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. And we hope you have a great day. And we'll be on the call for a couple minutes if folks have additional questions or want to stay on and chat.
Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank you.